Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome back. We are live with another live stream on the channel. Tonight, we are covering all things from the weekend and also the summer transfer window so far. Again, we'll have a look at Saturday's fixtures and having a little gander at those, as well as reading your comments out in the comments down below. Again, it was the first weekend of the Football League season. We had goals, we had drama, we had a couple of boring games and some big games already that we spoke about. We said that some were already, maybe relegation clashes. Some were looking at top six and automatic promotion games. And big week, always a big weekend in the first game. Again, no game this week, but we are back this weekend with more games. And we've got the Cup. And then we go Saturday, Tuesday for a little bit. And that is where we'll start to see the league table take shape over the next 5 or 6 weeks or so. But we can't do this on our own. We've got to get our mate, Jacob, from the Stacey West podcast, a very good podcast that discusses all things Lincoln City. And he's our co-host for this season, shall we say, if he earns the right to come on next season, if Lincoln manage to stay up, shall we say. How are we?
Mate. Yeah, mate. Do you know what? I don't know, Ben. This has been a bit of a talking point amongst Lincoln fan base over the last couple of weeks. I've just spent 120 quid on tickets for the August game. So you're looking at Pompey away on Saturday, Posh away, and then Oxford away. Something like 26, 27, 28 pounds for an adult. Mental.
Peterborough, sorry.
Yeah, 27 quid for an adult at Peterborough. I'm luckily that with my amazing looks, I can get away with under 21. So. No, mate, all good. Had a great weekend being back with the lads and going and looking forward to a long trip down to Pompey on Saturday to go and see our good mate Thomas from 4-0. So, no, looking forward to it, mate. Good weekend in League One this weekend, wasn't it?
Oh, Tom, enjoy him. Your turn for custody. On that, you mentioned the ticket prices. One thing that Reading have done, they haven't done many things right over the last few years, but they've come in with a £20 ticket offer where anyone that charges Reading fans 20 quid away from home, they will reciprocate that. Do you think that is a good step, and do you think you may see more football clubs use it, or down at League One level, do you think they really care? Because do you think it'll put some fans off 27 quid? Do you think if it was 20 quid, you'd get more fans go?
Yeah, I think you probably would, because luckily for us, Peterborough's not too far away. But, you're looking at teams like Fleetwood, maybe like, I don't know, Morecambe, Plymouth, etc. That's a long way for them to go and spend 27 quid on a match ticket. And that's just the match ticket, and not recommending the price with fuel and the cost of living these days. So, no, I think what Reading are doing with the 20 is plenty is fantastic. I think League One from the EFL should take it as a rule anyway. But no, hopefully it doesn't deter people, because we need more people back in the grounds, don't we, at the moment? Even though, COVID might still be a thing or whatever, these football clubs need our money to survive, and the long-term future of these football clubs is dependent on us. So, I would highly recommend that clubs go down that model. It seems to work, and I think you get more people going down the ground.
Yeah, exactly. In Accrington, owner Andy Holt said they get about £6.50, £6.60 after VAT and the EFL share for iFollow. And that's not taken in. If you're paying 20 quid, you're going to buy maybe a beer or a pie or something at the ground. And again, they're just losing so much money by fans not being there and iFollow being there. So for me, if you can make football more affordable for people to go, and this is why maybe away follows aren't as big at times, but he's glad that football's back, and we're going to discuss it. Jake, a relatively decent week. We'll start off with Accrington, because last season they were top 12 because of their home form. They were excellent at home, and also because of Sean McConville, who got, I think, 14 or 15 assists last year. He scored again. He also scored earlier this year against Rovers in the first game of 2022. He scored of the first game of the 2022-2023 season. He's a massive player for them, but also to go 2-1 down in the 92nd minute to a decent Charlton side, to come back at 96 minutes to equalise and rescue a point. that all of a sudden just gives it a massive confidence boost. And they're on the board now. They've not been beat. And they've scored a 96-minute equaliser. Great spirit, good finish, and a good point all round about a good Charlton fan.
Yeah, this was a really good game. It was really intriguing, wasn't it? You look at the stats, Snappers, and Accrington had 23 shots at home. They're always really strong, aren't they? They enforced their game onto the opposition. And Charlton, I thought, struggled with it at times. They had a lot of Davidsons in the team, didn't they? McGrandles came into the team. Jack Payne had a go. I believe Egbo played. So, yeah, it's a new era for Charlton. But going up to Accrington and getting a point is a really strong result because not many teams are going to go there and get a point, given how good they are at home. So, and you're looking at it from an Accrington point of view, Sean McConville, Mr. Reliable, stepping up when Colby Bishop's gone, when Guillaume Charles has gone. They've lost a lot of key players, haven't they, this summer? Ross Sykes has gone off to Belgium. So, no, really good character from Accrington. And it's the lad that's come in, that came in, I think it was in January, wasn't he? He came from Sheffield Wednesday to score a 96-minute winner. You know, not many players, people have heard of him before he left Wednesday. So, no, good point for both. I think it's a solid start, and I think it was one hell of a game. So I can imagine the fans of these football clubs are itching to get back to it on Saturday.
Do you think as well, Derby fans, Charlton fans will be thinking, is this deja vu from last year? Because up next, you've got Derby at home, and then you have to go and travel to Sheffield Wednesday. So all of a sudden, you're playing two promotion favourites who you're wanting to be up there with, and you could go into the first three games without a victory when you win that game and you go into the other two games full of confidence. If you offer them a 2-2 point away at Accrington, now, to be fair to them, Accrington are unbeaten in 5 against Charlton. They did the double over them last year. Went to the Valley on a Tuesday night and beat them. And did really well. Then beat them in the reserve fixture at the WAM. So it is a decent point overall, but being 2-1 up, you've got to see out those games. But the next two games are massive for them, aren't they? You've got to, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best, I guess.
That's it. If Charlton have got serious ambitions of being up there this season, they're going to have to go to the teams like your Derbies and your Sheffield Wednesdays and go and put their implant on the game. You know, go put their own make on it. And with Ben Garner, you know, they've got a certain style of football, haven't they? They'll go and do it, but whether they can get a result is a different thing. Derby will be a really difficult game for them on Saturday. I know Derby have nearly sold out the 3K allocation, which is class, on a Saturday going down to London. So, no, difficult couple of weeks for Charlton, but, you know, if they come away with 4 points in the next two games, they'll be massively on a high. And you got to think that maybe even towards the back end of the window, they might even bring in a few more new faces to throw into this already pretty decent squad. So, yeah, I think Charlton should be optimistic. I don't think it's a here we go again. I think it's more of a, you know what, let's see where we are. Let's really see, you know, where we are amongst the big boys, and hopefully we can compete this year because they didn't last year.
Yeah, agree. Next game, Bristol Rovers Forest Green. Now, Forest Green, for me, are the side that need to come down and put their implant on, because if they can grind out results like they did on Saturday, winning by 2-1, they're going to be more than fine at this level. More Taylor scoring, who's been excellent since coming into the football club, and Henry, who's got his 5th goal in 36. He's only an 18-month spell, been in and out the side, obviously had a couple of injuries in there as well. Collins did grab a goal for Bristol Rovers. It's good to see him up and running. Again, I do think he'll be in double figures for them, so I think it's huge that he's on the score sheet. I still think they're a couple of players away. But also as well, mate, we talked about James Belshaw, the goalkeeper, how big he could be. It all came from a long kick from and his distribution last year was the best in League Two. And all of a sudden, you've got a goal from his threat. That's going to be massive for Bristol Rovers this year, I think, if I'm honest with you. But Forest Green, everyone's wrote them off, including me. And they've come to a fortress in the Mem, who I know they came up with Bristol Rovers. And if you want to stay up, you need to be beating your sides. They're going to be in your bottom 12. But it's a great win away from home. 2 goals scored, 3 points. And then I think Ian Birchall will be happy with his side performance, because I think overall they deserved it. And they made Bristol Rovers look pretty flat. But Bristol Rovers started badly last year in October. Barton, when they were in the bottom to 6, said they're going to get promotion, and they go on an unbelievable run. So anything can happen in football. It's an odd game.
Yeah, shout out to the Bristol Rovers family as well for the highlight to Nick Anderton. Obviously, he's going through a bit of a tough time at the moment, so hopefully he can rest up and recover well and get better soon. Really nice touch of them to use the shirt of his when they were warming up, etc. So massive kudos to Bristol Rovers. But in terms of the game, Ben, I thought Forest Green were pretty comfortable. Bristol Rovers never looked like they were going to threaten too much. Only 3 shots on target in the 90 minutes. And then, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, Ben, the goal to win it, fantastic, stunning for this level, isn't it? Regan.
Did he meant it?
100%. He's meant that. Yeah, 100%. He's had a look. I don't know if you slowed the clip down. I've slowed it down on my
It's just the way he kills it in the corner. And Belshaw is positioned, for me, in a funny angle. Normally, keepers are side on. Now, I'm no expert on goalkeepers. That's why they stuck me up the other end to get me out of the way. But he was kind of like that and sideways. And I think he was expecting a cross to come in so he could come out and gather. All of a sudden, it's been readjusted and he's just killed over him. And he's brilliant finish.
I'm telling you now, Ben, Hendry, when the ball was being laid off to him, Hendry took a quick look at the goalkeeper and saw and noticed what you just picked up. And that's why I think he went for goal. And Forest Green deserved it, really. They bossed the game. The possession was good. They were being dangerous in good areas, and good to see Archie Collins get on the score sheet. Obviously, I think that was down to Harvey Saunders really wanted his determination to harry the back four, which you'll be well accustomed to with his time at Fleetwood. Laid the ball on the plate, and it was a good finish from Collins. But if you're Bristol Rovers, I think you would be disappointed. They're one of the teams that, yes, they're coming up. You want to be beating the teams that are coming up with you, and they're going to be around you. So Joey Barton will be disappointed. Ian Birchall, on the other hand, will be absolutely buzzing. And today they've signed another big name, haven't they, to go and play up front. Connor Wickham signed for Forest Green until January, which will be a big deal for them. So fingers crossed, but Bristol Rovers can get back to winning ways, because they're one of those teams that, if they go on a run, I think they might be a little bit unstoppable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, agree. Keep your comments coming, guys, and also like the stream as well. Liking it does really appreciate. We've seen over 100 new members of the Cod Vlogs family subscribing in the last 5 or 6 days or so. So if you could subscribe down below, and also go over to Jake's channel and give him a little sub. He's on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and over 1,000 MK Dons fans have made the trip to Cambridge. However, didn't come away disappointed. They had 0 shots on target, but managed over 2/3 possession with 67%. Will Grigg starting up front with him. The fire's been lit out for the last 5 years, should you say, on Will Grigg. Nibs getting the goal. His 4th goal last year he scored. He's already up and running, but Cambridge, hard to beat at home, and that's why they were so good last year. You said never out of a Mark Bonner side. They've gone to a good side. Not really bothered about possession. Nicked a goal and deserved the win overall, I thought. And MK Dons look flat. They're going to have to improve on that. They just needed a bit of magic, and the 2 players that provided that for them last year weren't there in Harry Darling and Scott Twine.
Yeah, bit of a hangover really for MK Dons, wasn't it? But you talk about those 2 players. Both played really well actually this weekend in the Championship. Harry Darling, by the way, what a goal against Rotherham United, if you've seen it. But no, I think MK Dons will be massively disappointed. It's a game, Cambridge. You're taking a lot of supporters to the game, expecting to win, because Cambridge, they weren't one of the top teams last year as MK Dons were. But like I say, Mark Bono, really good coach, really good tactician, got it absolutely spot on again, didn't he? Forced MK Dons into having possession in really stupid areas, so they played around the back quite a lot. Cambridge hit on the counter, and Harvey Nibs, well, I don't know if you remember, Ben, when they played Wigan on Sky, Harvey Nibs scored a really good goal there. So no surprise to see him on the score sheet. A really good player, picked up, I think it was from Aston Villa. But yeah, really good centre forward, and hopefully he can have another good year. But really impressive for Cambridge to start off with a win, because a lot of people are backing them to go down as well, aren't they? Like Forest Green. So really impressed, and hopefully they can kick on and have another really successful year in the division.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cheltenham now, we were 2-0 up against Peterborough. Kent with an own goal, and Alfie made great finish, took it round the goalkeeper and finished like a season pro. He scored 17 in his last 19 games last year. he's already up and running, so that's a positive. But to give a 2-0 lead up at home is not great when questions are being asked about you. It's still off, still no points under the new manager. I know we're only one game in, still no win, and now you're chasing. Whereas they got that 2-0 win, it could be so different for them. But Peterborough got over 30 points from behind a couple of years ago when they won promotion. And the Grant McCann's come out and said they've got the best 2 strikers in the league, and Jack Marriott and Jonathan Clark-Harris. And if I'm honest with you, I don't think he's far wrong. I don't think I'd have any other strikers at this level, bar maybe a couple. I think that they're right up there, especially Jonathan Clark-Harris. And if you can get Marriott firing, he was still scoring in the Championship just 3 years ago. Again, great win for them away from home. 3 similar goals, 2 Johnson Harris type of goals where he just levered it in, and I thought the net was going to come off. But for Peterborough, that's great character. They've shown why they're going to be right up there. But for Cheltenham, I think they've shown why they're going to be right down there. I think it's been a class of showing us what we already knew potentially.
Yeah, I think Posh sort of relied on the Championship experience of last year to win this game for them, really. You're looking at the players that they had play that day. Johnson Clark-Harris obviously affecting the goal one way. Sammy Schmodix is a player that they had on Saturday. They won't have him anymore. He's completed the move to Blackburn Rovers for a significant amount of money. With Peterborough with a lot of money in the bank, they could go well and sign a really good player that will prove himself at the level. So really good from Peterborough. Really good half an hour from Peterborough, more like. I think it was a 15-minute spell they got the 3 goals in. Whereas Cheltenham, yes, you've gone 2-0 up against a promotion rival. You weren't expecting it, but you're disappointed, aren't you, to not pick up at least a draw going 2-0 up at home, especially with a new manager. The crowd's expecting a little bit, so I can understand why Wade Elliott would be a little bit frustrated. But positives for Cheltenham. Dan and Lundeloo look really, really bright. Alfie May looked really good again. So I think Cheltenham have got positives to build on. But whereas Peterborough, then, well, you've got to play like Johnson Clark-Harris, and you see that second goal of his, man, I thought the net was actually going to come off, like you said.
Yeah.
And Posh took a good travelling down there, which is quite rare. So no, good for Posh, but Cheltenham will definitely be looking to improve on Saturday. Where do you want to go next, Ben? Where do you want to go next?
To go Derby?
Yeah, we'll go Derby. I've been speaking to a Derby fan at work this week, so he was pretty impressed with the result. Oxford, obviously, a team that are normally up there and abouts, aren't they? But Conor Hourihane, the difference. I mean, Collins had a good chance before, didn't he, Ben? But Conor Hourihane, is he now? Barry Bannon gets a lot of attention for being a very good midfielder at this level. Is Conor Hourihane on the same level? Because I think he is.
As Barry Bannon?
Yes, I think Hourihane's on a similar level to Barry Bannon.
100%, because when he was in the team at Barnsley was it 2016 and he won promotion?
Yeah.
2015, sorry. Then the year after, he lasted 6 months with Barnsley, then went to Villa, and he was excellent. For me, I might even want to say, with his age, I think I might have Hourihane in my side, just with his age at the moment. I love Barry Bannon. I think they probably are both equal, but just with Conor Hourihane's age, I'd rather have Conor Hourihane in the side. So, yeah, great player. Again, from outside the box. He loves scoring from outside the box. He's brilliant at that. Oxford, Cameron Brannigan signing a new deal is huge. A 3-year deal. Basically, if you don't know, Blackpool triggered his release clause of 1.25 million, which would be a record fee for them. And Oxford have to accept it. He travelled down, and Blackpool offered him the fee, and I think either Oxford matched it and added a bit. And then Blackpool agreed, and then Oxford came in last minute, and he went back to Oxford. So great little steal. Carl Robinson was on the radio, basically gutted. You mentioned again, no head of recruitment. Look at the bench on Saturday. There's a lot of weakness there. For me, Oxford have always had a good 16 members of a team, 17 members of a team. They probably got a good 12, 13 players now, and you can see that on the bench. They need additions as soon as possible. They are going to be in the top 12 at the moment. But until they get those additions, are they going to be another one that starts slow and then gets better like they did a few years ago? Because a few years ago, they won the 4 out of the first 16. And then gradually they did get better. They won, I think, 19 out of the last 30. So I don't think they can let other teams have a head start this year. But good win. And again, Iran has one promotion out of this league with Barnsley, won a playoff. So they've got enough experience in that side. It's just, have they got the legs and have they got the depth?
Yeah, really good finish as well, wasn't it, by Conor Hourihane. The only issue is, I mentioned this in my 1 to 24 video with Derby, is I worry about the squad depth at the moment, similar to Oxford. You know, if these star players, you know, your likes of Hourihane, Chester, Collins, Mendes, Lang, all start to pick up injuries because of their age, you're back to playing the kids, which is a bit worrying when you're a Derby County. Yes, it's okay in the Championship when you've got a 21-point deduction and no one's backing you to do anything, but when you're Derby County in League One and you've got 30,000 there every week and you're up the top, but you've got injuries, the kids are going to be under a different kind of pressure. In terms of Derby, that was a good result for them. For Oxford, there, like you say, Ben, they just need more bodies in the building. They've had a slow window, haven't they? Cameron Brannigan, massive. I think Mr. Appleton might be a little bit annoyed, which he seems to be in the window quite a lot at the moment, given the Colby Bishop signing as well. He's pretty angry about that, wasn't he? But you know, Oxford, there'll be better teams than Oxford go to Derby County and lose this year for me, Ben.
Yeah, agree. But a good win, 1-0 at home. And now you're talking two more sides that I've backed to do really well. And both to mention the playoffs, actually. Ipswich won, Bolton won. Again, Ipswich coming from behind to draw this one. Evans scoring and Aaron Morley for Bolton. Do you think it's just two sides that played each other and are at similar levels and testing the waters out? And will probably pick up more points from the bottom 12 than they will from each other. Do you think it's just one of those types of games?
No, Ben. Ipswich were way better. Ipswich massively got a hold of Bolton, and apart from the penalty, they looked really, really, really good in terms of keeping Bolton at bay. Really impressed with Ipswich on Saturday. I thought they played really well. Created a few chances going the other way as well. Evans, good goal on it again, and Morley from the penalty spot. Two teams that, like you, I've got them both to finish in the playoffs. I expect them both to have good years. But these sorts of games early on in the season, like you say, they can be tight and cagey. It's a do not lose. They don't want to lose any ground early on, do they? So for them both to have a point, I think Ipswich should be a bit more disappointed than Bolton. I think Bolton might have realised they come with a bit of luck. But for Ipswich, the performance was so encouraging. Really, really well. I really, really thought they were excellent. So good result for Bolton in the end. But I think they'll need to improve significantly if they're going to think about finishing in that top six come the start of May.
But a good point away from home after a battling performance for the Whites. Lincoln won extra one. For me, Jake, it looked like a battling performance where it was a good goal by Nomble, to be fair. He scored 18-28 last year. And Tom Hopper, again, with his 18th in 79 for the Imps. A looping header. You said off there that wasn't really meant, but you don't really care. You're on the board. It's a decent point. And a side that should maybe be beaten, but a side that two sides that are probably going to be in the bottom 8, bottom 9 at the end of the year.
You know what, Ben? After 20 minutes, I was absolutely cacking it. I thought we were going to get battered. Didn't start well at all. A complete opposite to Fleetwood. We just didn't get going. Weren't playing completed passes. Really poor going forward as well. Didn't really create anything. And then on 15 minutes, Giovanni Brown, I don't know if you've seen it, Ben, really good footwork on the halfway line. Fantastic ball into Sam Nombe. Not a lot Carl Rushworth can do. He just slots it past him. But then from then it got a bit better for Lincoln. We entered the game. We were getting into the final third a bit more. Lass Sorensen really impressed me with his running ability. And then after half time, there was only one team that was going to win it. Early goal in the second half, like you say, Hakeem Delican, who was really sort of frozen out under the previous manager, did really well. Really good ball into Hopper. I don't think he meant it. I mean, if you've seen it back, let me know what you think. But yeah, I mean, you don't care, do you, Ben? Because as long as you score a goal on opening day, you don't got beat. Yes, it's disappointing not to beat the promoted side at home. But I think, with a few more bodies in the building and given, the second half was so encouraging, I think we might well be on for a bit of a better season than last year. The players that were frozen out under Appleton, Sorensen, Max Sanders, Hakeem Delican, come in and did really well. Anthony Scully had chances to win the game. Horrendous misses, both of them. But it's game 1 of 46, Ben. It's a bit of a marathon, isn't it? With rumours of a certain Coventry City striker coming back on loan, we could be a little bit excited, give or take. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, here we go. How big was it for Tom Hopper getting on the score sheet? Because last year injuries killed him, and you did miss him because he's not the biggest of goal scorers, Tom Hopper. What Tom Hopper is an outlet. You can ping him the ball, he can hold the others up, hold the ball and bring others into play, which is huge for a club like Lincoln, who, against maybe 11 or 12 of the clubs that are going to compete at the top end, you're going to have probably less amount of possession unless you play really well, like you beat some big clubs last year. I know you want to say on there in Sheffield Wednesday, but I'm not going to let you say that. We'll come back to that in a minute. And he will score more goals if he's fit, and it's keeping him fit. But he should, a player of his quality, should get into double figures, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, says it all that Mark Kennedy's made him his captain for the season, doesn't it? It shows you how much he trusts Tom Hopper. And it wasn't that long ago, was it, when he was leading the line for Scunthorpe and they were finishing in the playoffs in League One? So we know we can do it. We know we can find the net. Did really well the season we got promoted. He's not promoted. The season we got into the playoffs, scored a couple of really important goals. Misses a couple, granted, but having him as skipper in the building, fit, fine on a regular basis. Needs someone up there with him, I think, because he looks a little bit lonely at times. But massive player for Lincoln City, and the fact he's from the area, also pretty big, so it means a lot to him.
Well, I'll tell you a true story on area. So we went to the League One playoff final, and Jake must have spoken to about 12 Sunderland fans on the train or the tube, and everyone that he met, he did that, right? And he goes, I'm a Lincoln fan. Tom Hopper, we knocked you out the playoffs last year. I was just trying not to associate with him at that point. But again, that was one of his biggest goals of all. And we're going to go to a game now, though, Jake, that didn't have any goals. For me, Shrewsbury is a solid point away. Last year, they were awful away. At home, they were okay. If they want to be in the top 12 at the end of the season, which I think is Shrewsbury's aim, to really consolidate and challenge, because every year they bring these good players in and they never do anything. Every year. And that's a decent point against a Morecambe side. And Derek Adams always goes, we're a really good side. That's his motto for his Morecambe football side. And for me, is Morecambe are going to struggle for goals this year. I think if they don't get Stockton enough service. In pre-season, they've looked a little bit dry. I think they drew 0-0 to Carlisle in pre-season. They drew 2-2 with Macclesfield. One bright spot for them has been the new lad at the back, and also Ashley Hunter, who I know a lot about. He was excellent at Salford. So they have got a little bit of spark, but on the day, nothing shares the spoils. They're both up and running, and I think both sides will be happy with the clean sheet overall. Morecambe have to go to Peterborough on Saturday, and I'd be surprised if they kept a clean sheet longer than the first half hour.
Yeah, do you know what, Ben? It was one of the most boring games in the whole EFL this weekend, that one. Not a lot going on at either end of the pitch. Most of it was played down the middle. But, point for both teams, point closer. So, yeah, there's not really a lot you can say about a 0-0, Ben, because both teams haven't lost, which is great. And both teams, as long as they're closer to 50 points, I think that's all that them and their fans will care about. Yeah,
agree. It's going to be a long slog to that 50 point. It's like when you're trying to get 100,000 subscribers, 0.1%, 0.2%, 0.3%. That's what I think it's going to be like with Morecambe this year. And for me, they're going to struggle, but Morecambe always have enough. Now, for me, I backed Plymouth to beat Barnsley. I predicted Barnsley to finish in the top two, and I've looked at the squad since, and I've thought, what have I done? Up front, they haven't got enough. Jack Aitchison and Devante Cole, if you're relying on those front two to get you out of League One, then I think you're going to be in all sorts of trouble, really. The lack of goals, lack of options, lack of threat. The only man who's 2 shots on target, poor. Plymouth, excellent. I looked at their side the other day. It's one of the best in League One. They've lost no one. They've added bodies. They've added Mikael Miller. They've added Matt Butcher, who was excellent the other day. Finn Azaz scored an absolute pearler on loan from Villa, who scored 7 last year for Newport. He also played 45 times as well. That shows you that he was a key part of the team. He didn't get injured. Energy, running into the box to finish the goal as well. They stuck with a back three. They played a 3-4-1-2. And they had their identity and the high energy, the press, everything that got them there last year. And let's be honest, this is a Plymouth side that should have been in the top 6. For the first 41 games of the season, they were excellent. And then that's where they slipped up. They only got 1 point in the last 5. But still a great win, 1-0, clean sheet. And for me, their home form's going to be important because I think Home Park is one of my favourite grounds in the league. It's one of the better atmospheres in the league. Not the best. I know you're having a little smile there. But a clean sheet, job done, on to the next one that happens to be Fleetwood.
Yeah, really impressed by Plymouth, actually. Outplayed Barnsley, didn't really give them too much. And then the strike from Finn Azaz, who, like you mentioned earlier, Ben, had a really good year down in League 2 with Newport. So natural progression for him to come up and try himself at League 1. Obviously, it's not too far away from Newport for him to go to. Yeah, like you say, worried about Barnsley, but Plymouth. I think Plymouth are a little bit similar to Bolton in a way, Ben, where they've done a lot of their recruitment already. The group have been together a long time. They know the strengths, they know the weaknesses. All they've done is they've cherry-picked a few players from here, there and everywhere and just brought them in. Morgan Whittaker will be a really good loan signing. Finn Azaz is a good loan signing. They've signed well. So, yeah, Plymouth really, really, really impressive. And, you know, unlucky for you to have to go and play them on Saturday. Don't envy you whatsoever.
For me, this is a big year for them because a lot of their players will get picked off if they don't go up. For me, it is a 3-year plan and it's got to be ending in the Championship because the moment they've got everything right. The owners are decent. They've got a good young manager. They've got an unbelievable stadium, an unbelievable crowd. They are a big football club. They're bigger than a lot of people give them credit for. They'll bring, well, I don't know, some Plymouth fans, let me know in the chat. They'll bring 600, 700 minimum on Saturday. And bear in mind, it's 650-mile round trip. And a lot of the players like Hardy, Mayer, those types of players, Jeff Cott, who struggles to get into the side nowadays. These players, they're gonna go to Championship clubs. They remind me a bit of Blackpool a couple of years ago when they went up, where they've got just a strong core and a great will. And for me, you've got everything that you want to see in a footballing side. Should have been top 6 if Child Woods didn't have 2 left feet. Everyone is welcome to Jeff Cott. I will drop in anywhere in the world. Also, 800 tickets for Saturday. So what I mean with Jeff Cott, he just seemed like a patchy player that went on a great run, didn't score. He went on a great run last year, didn't score for like 15 games. Because I remember 18 months ago, I did a strikers list. I did it in January 2021. And I didn't put him in my list. And I got dogs abuse. And I don't think he scored, or he must have scored 1 goal after that. I was like, I just thought he was a very patchy player. I thought he didn't do much other than scoring. I know people going, "What was a goal scorer?" But a striker's so much other than goals. We've just talked about how important Tom Hopper is. A driver striker score 10 goals, but do everything off the ball for you. Do the right things, then score 15 goals and do nothing else. Because other players like Hopper will create 5 goals just from a little movement, just from beating off a defender, just from an assist, just from a little flick on. And people don't always realise that. And 800 tickets, it'll be probably 1,000 on the day is unbelievable support. You've got to credit that. But let's be honest, They've only come to see the pug wash. That's it. That's it.
One thing, Ben, to note about Plymouth is they've just taken on new American investors, haven't they? You know, that got announced. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So, you know, moving in the right direction and clearly attracting interest from foreign organisations to come and put their money in the football club. So clearly people are believing in the vision of Argyle, and fingers crossed they can hopefully get back to the Championship, because I know they were there a couple of years ago. So fingers crossed for Argyle fans. Massive football club, really good set of supporters.
To be fair, I must admit, right, as soon as I saw the fixtures, I bet you Plymouth fans were thinking, tell you what, we've got it gold here. Fleetwood away, August, what are we? Start of August, you know, kids are off school, so you can come down for holidays if you've got a family. You can stay in Blackpool. There's loads to do. You know what I mean? And then if you're a bit older, you can go to Trilogy or Shenanigans, or enjoy your weekend and do everything that I don't do because I don't like it.
He'll be there. He'll be in Trilogy on Saturday night, waiting uppers after Fleetwood.
I will not be. Definition of hell, that place. I'm trying to talk about the other definition of hell at the moment, Jay. The next game,
Wycombe.
I was going to talk about Port Vale Fleetwood.
Oh, right, yeah. Do you know, I was looking at the fixture. I forgot about your game, Ben, because it was that. Forgettable for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, for me, the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we were excellent. To a man, excellent. We pressed well. What we looked to do, we set up with our organisation 4-3-3, which was good. Our wingers were very close to our strikers, and every time that we pushed on, we would do our holding midfielder would drop in and make a back three. It was really weird how it functionated. It was really good to see because you could see it, and then Bella would drop to create the ball, and then we'd play out, and then we'd ping it to either Shaden or Paddy Lane. And again, we played them on opposite sides. Shaden cut in because he can only do one skill at the moment, Shaden, and Paddy is very good on both feet. We got the goal early on. Promised on a cherry we signed from Bohemians in Ireland for an undisclosed fee. Gave the ball to Batty, just scuffled short, found the corner, then 1-0. And then after that, we lost our heads. And like last season, we didn't know what to do. Do we sit back? And maybe that's a bit of the naivety. Now, I don't buy this is a young squad anymore because there wasn't many young lads in that side. You got Paddy Lane, who's played over 50 times. Your front three are very inexperienced, but you've got a midfield three of Vela, Batty, and Wirudu have played over 500 games between them at least. And then you've got Danny Andrew on the pitch, who's played a lot of times. You've got Toto 20, who's 30, season pro. And then you've got a couple of young lads. The goalkeeper for me is not good enough in Jay Lynch. I want to come back to that actually. He scuffled for both goals, and then Vale were good. To a man, they did everything correct. They got in right positions. They pressed well. They were, they held the shape well. It's a Darryl Clark type of performance. Now, one thing I'm going to say is that Fleetwood are letting Alex Cairns go, which he is my favourite player to ever play for Fleetwood. To leave him on the bench when he is better than Jay Lynch because he's leaving the football club, play him until you get someone in. You get rid of him, fine, but you don't sacrifice the team because the goalkeeper's not tall enough, he's not big enough, he's not good enough at this moment. I think he's a good lad, a good player, but for us as a number one goalkeeper in our team, I don't see it. Kenzie is our number one, and I don't get that. Defensively and attackingly poor. In midfield, we're all right. Going forward, we're going to have to change. We're going to need 3 or 4 players. It's also rumoured that Shaden Morris is leaving the football club to go to Aberdeen. So just seems like one of those types of windows really where nothing's kind of just happening at the moment. There's no loanees coming in, so I'm starting to get a bit worried. I said there's a lot of fans, Jay, that told me we're going to get top 12. We're going to really, really push on, and you're living in cuckoo land if you think that's the case. I said this a couple of weeks ago. Fleetwood are going to be in the bottom 8 at the end of the season. Nothing has changed. We've not, man for man, we've improved slightly, but there's not a lot of improvement.
Which shirt do you want on, Nappers? Which one do you think you'll look better in, guys? I reckon this one. I reckon Nappers would look good in this. Playoff shirt from a few years ago. What do you reckon? I think he'd look good in that. Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Sorry, don't get me started, mate. What I've heard on the grapevine is nothing short of a joke that the club hold him account for last year when I can name 5 or 6 people before I can name any of our team or coaching staff. Anyway, Benny's there, no one else. Now, to be fair, a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and this made my week actually, put in the comments, Sheffield Wednesday's punishment is playing in the Papa John's Trophy again. However, having Jake speak about us again this year is the worst kind of punishment. And 3-3, 1-0 up, 1-1, 2-1 up, 2-2, 3-2 down, 3-3. Deli Bashanu getting 2 goals, rumoured link with Blackpool, and Johnson getting on the score sheet. Conor Oldguy getting his 2nd goal for the football club. Bishop also linked with Blackpool as well this window. Everyone seems to be linked in League One with Blackpool at the moment. It's his first into his move, and also Michael Jacobs, who signed a new deal in the summer as well. Very good side, 2 very good sides. It was 4-1 the last time the sides met. 3-3 this time, attacking game. How do you think it went?
Do you know what? I know pretty well that went. I've been speaking a lot to Tom from 4-0 this week. He said first half, Sheffield Wednesday blew him away. The first goal, I think it's the ball, isn't it, from Bannon to Windass. Wow. Just incredible. And then a ball over through the box. But second half, from all accounts, yes, Tom might be sitting there with Pompey tinted spectacles, but he said Pompey probably should have won the game, given that, you know, they made some really good opportunities, 3-headed goals. I think the second goal, which officially went to Jacobs, probably was a Colby Bishop goal because it looked to go over the line. I'm sure as a white went to Jacobs, and Pompey really pressed on. And a Danny Cowley team normally starts the season really strong. I think we won almost every game, first game of the season when we had Cowley in charge. So, yeah, Wednesday, though, fought back, didn't they? Dele Bashiru, at 21 years of age, physically, he looks amazing. To score 2 goals, you know, clearly Michael Appleton can spot a player, Ben, and if he's looking at him, then it gives you an indication that he's a bit of a player, isn't he? And it will be a good point for both of them, because I think both teams will be up there, you know, up and around the playoffs automatic this season. I think probably need a couple more bodies in, especially from Pompey, just to replace Marcus Harness. But, you know, a really classic end-to-end game. And, you know, I think if you were a neutral at Hillsborough that weekend, I think you're absolutely spoiled. Yeah,
absolutely. And obviously they play your boys on Saturday. Any thoughts on that?
Bricking it. Absolutely bricking it. I don't like going and playing against the Danny Cowley team. We see how good it was when we had him. And Pompey will be up for it. Fratton Park, they've just done all the seats up, haven't they? So yeah, it's gonna be electric. I'm looking forward to going down there again, but I am not looking forward to the 90 minutes of football, because I think we're going to get battered.
And Wednesday go to MK Dons, who, what a game that was last year. It was 3-2, and Wednesday scored 3 goals in the first half hour. And Barry Banu scored the goal of the season that was an absolute pearler. That's going to be an absolute cracker between 2 good sides. It's been a tough start for Wednesday, who then have to play Charlton. They're 3 of the better sides.
Yeah, absolutely. But Wednesday, everyone's promotion favourites, aren't they? So they're going to have to go there and prove why they're everyone's promotion favourites by walking away with 7 points from 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And Wycombe beat Burton, no professional keeper in goal, and Scowen on the goal scoring side again. Wheeler also scoring as well, and Mahemi getting another goal as well. But Burton only 1 shot on target, favours relegation, a real lack of quality in that side, I thought. And they're, for me, going to slip down that table, I think, pretty quickly, and maybe be the Crew of last year if we're going to look. I know we said we can't see it, but the more you have a look into it, the less players that they're bringing in. And maybe you can kind of see now why Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank is leaving the football club.
Yeah. Well, this game was the Anis Mehmeti show from speaking to Broom. He was really impressed with Mehmeti.
That means the total opposite, by the way. We don't listen to Broom.
We do listen to Broom. He knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to betting. No, look, Anis Mehmeti, really good footballer, Albanian lad. I think he came in a couple of years ago, really started to put his footprint on Wycombe Wanderers at the moment. And then Burton, well, I hate to say this, but last year I pretty much called them as if, as a potential relegation candidate. And now look at them. They went on a run last year, didn't they, where they didn't win in a long time. They were slipping towards that bottom four. Season goes on another 5-10 games, then I think they'd have been relegated. And then this year they've started off poorly. Hasselbank wanted the Barnsley job, didn't get it. He's had to come back. He's had to have a pre-season. Tom Hamer is meant to be off to Wycombe Wanderers. Really, probably one of their better players. But they just looked really poor on Saturday. I think the only highlight they received in the highlights package was a shot from Johnny Smith that went about maybe a mile over the bar. So says it all really for Burton. A lot of work for them to do if they're going to want to be competitive and stay up this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wycombe also go to Bolton at the weekend. Bolton are a good side. They beat them last year 2-0 away from home, where Brandon Hanlon and I think it was Grimmer who got on the score sheet, because I went to that game and I thought at the time Bolton could struggle and Wycombe are set for the playoffs. Again, Bolton went on a great run after that. They beat Ipswich on that weekend, and then Wycombe just climbed on. Wycombe get the clean sheet the weekend, ties me into a good game there. But Burton are also going to be needing to get off to a good start against Bristol Rovers, who didn't start Saturday too well. So you got two wound-up animals there. Some big games at the weekend. Looking at Charlton, Derby County, Jake, who two very good sides, two sides that are going to want to start strong. Charlton at home this year are going to have to make the Valley a fortress. And Derby are going to need to up the levels against Oxford, because I thought they're about a 7 out of 10. They're going to have to be about a 9 out of 10. Good off the ball, good on the ball, and also manage out the game really well.
Yeah, backed by 3,000 Rams fans, though, Nappers, that I think they'll be fine against Charlton. I think they'll be going 2 from 2. Yes, Charlton are a fairly decent side, but that support going down there, your players like Hurahan, enough to win the game by himself. So I'm expecting a Derby win. Charlton, I think they'll make more of a game of it perhaps than Oxford did, but I think it's going to be a Rams win quite comfortably.
Yeah, agree. And also Michael Duff's first home game at Oakwell is against the last club that he managed in Cheltenham Town. Again, both sides will want to put the last weekend behind them and get results. There you've also got Exeter City against Port Vale, where Port Vale actually beat Exeter to get into the playoffs. Last year away from home, that'd be a big game. You've got Plymouth, who travelled to Fleetwood. Plymouth, again, will be favourites for that game. But Fleetwood at home last year, I thought deserved a lot more than they got. Forest Green Ipswich should be a good game, because you've got a side that's bouncing after a win, who can cause an upset at any given time, but you're playing one of the best sides in the division in Ipswich Town. Yeah,
Ipswich for me, Ben, purely because of, like I said earlier at the top of the show, so impressed by the performance against Bolton Wanderers. And yes, Forest Green have had a good start against Bristol Rovers. But Ipswich, like Derby, backed by a sellout crowd down at Nailsworth, it'll be new ground for a lot of their fans and a lot of their players. So, and yeah, Ipswich are going to be up there, I think. And you've got to go and beat these teams that are going to be down there. You're looking at Forest Green. So, fingers crossed, Ipswich can come away with a win. I think obviously they've just spent big on Leif Davis, haven't they? So they'll be wanting a return on investment. So I think Ipswich should walk that pretty comfortably.
I think for them, I think they've got to get a win, because I think the longer it goes on that they don't get 3 points on the ball consistently, the longer it goes on and the more pressure that's built. And with Ipswich, when pressure mounts on, they can't deal with it. So for me, got to get a win. It's huge for them. I don't want to say must win in week 2, but it is a must-win game, because they should be beating sides of that quality. I don't like saying sides of, but you've got to get off to a winning start as soon as possible, because last year, the first 5-6 games, they were behind, and you're playing catch-up for 40 games. It's no good. MK Dons Wednesday, we've already covered. Oxford Cambridge should be a good game. Again, I'll go through all my predictions. Again, you'll see that video tomorrow on the channel. You got Peterborough against Morecambe. Peterborough again, great at home. Morecambe again, away from home. Not brilliant. Again, tough game for Peterborough. But for me, should edge through that at home.
Yeah. Posh at home at this level are pretty strong, aren't they? Under Grant McCann, so I can't imagine that they should have too many problems. Yes, Cole Stockton will be there, no doubt, and I imagine Morecambe might have that one moment in the game, but you expect Posh to have 3, 4, 5 moments in the game to put that one to bed.
Agree. And Shrewsbury Accrington, again, they're playing 2 Lancashire outfits. For me, again, tight game, and it'd be interesting to see where that comes from. Again, Jake, before we get into our live Q&A for the last 10 minutes, pop those questions in down below, smash them in, and we'll answer them for the last 10 minutes. Do you want to go and give yourself a little tiny plug of your channel?
Go on then, Nappers. I will do.
I was going to do the same, actually. You're doing the joke. You can see why we're suited to each other on this channel, can't you?
Yeah. Stacey US podcast then. Nearly at 600 subs, I think. I've had a busy week of content making. We do a Stacey West preview shows. They go up on a Thursday lunchtime. What got one coming out tomorrow with the great Tom for 4-0 written all over it. I've got a 1 to 24 up on the channel as well. So go feel free to go have a look at that. See where I put your team. Feel free to abuse me in the comments if you don't agree with me, which you probably won't. And then also on a Sunday, if you wanted to find out a little bit more in depth about how Lincoln have got on the Saturday afternoon before we do a show called the West End Imp Show. Me and a mate Chris, who Nappers knows, sit down for half an hour or so and have a chat through that. So come over and subscribe. Content coming out our ears at the moment. There's Gary posting content. The away kit's going to come out tomorrow morning, so there'll be a bit about that. So really exciting Nappers time for the channel, and hopefully we can get to 1,000 before the end of 2022. That's the aim at the moment.
Perfect. Again, we have covered every team on depth. So if you want to see that, I'm not going to go over a team specially. Go back, scroll back again. We talk about each team for 3 or 4 minutes. We start at about minute 3 or 4. And we've got an alphabetical order of the team. So again, Ipswich was about halfway through if you're looking. Mate, again, we've got a comment. How long do you think it'll be until Hasselbank is sacked? Not if, but when. I do think there'll be a departure. I reckon November time, November time, because I think you've got to have a look at the squad. I don't think the squad's good enough. I don't think the manager's happy, and I don't think that adds to it. And then when the manager's not happy, the squad's not happy, it's something that needs to be done as soon as possible, because you can see it from a mile off that they're destined to go down.
Yeah, 10 games for me. I think it'll be gone by 10 games.
10 games is pretty much what you were on match day 4, is it 6 after the end of August? So you're looking at the end of September with your view.
Yeah.
I'd say middle of October to maybe early November. Any decent car parks near Fleetwood's ground?
No.
Well, Fleetwood will be parking on the pitch, but you can park round the corner or right near the ground, mate.
Park at Napper's house. Let them park at your house, Nappers.
So nice to watch and not hear the Sunderland mentioned. I bet decent
Sunderland.
points them again.
Sunderland. Hey, come on.
Ideally departed sides didn't do too badly. We got a draw out of Wigan at home to Preston. You got a draw out of Sunderland as well. So not too bad. I'm trying to remember who else went up. It was that long ago. Rotherham United. Draw. Swansea. So the drawing, they could be the artists. And to be fair, Rotherham probably deserved to win. Wigan probably deserved to win. And Sunderland probably... There's probably a
good goal though, wasn't it?
Great goal, mate. Yeah. My mate Matty loved him. What a finish.
Yeah.
Great finish. And again, the sides that went down last year, Crewe obviously got a decent result away at Rochdale. Which is a decent result for them. Donny drew
0-0 with Bradford.
Donny again away at Bradford. Lee Tomlin got sent off.
And then Gills lost to Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. Again, I don't think any of those four will come back up, though. Do you?
I think if you're looking at one of them, I think it would be Doncaster, purely because they've signed well. Luke Molyneux's a really good signing for that level.
Big Lee Tomlin.
Yeah, they've signed some good players for League Two level, and although the manager's inexperienced, you know, they're a big football club for that level, and they should come back up.
Yeah.
No state bet giveaway this week, then, Ben.
Oh, right, last week. Derby will have too much for us on Saturday. The only thing for them is we'll need to have a few more for depth, or they'll struggle against us Saturday, Tuesday. Yeah, agree. Yeah. And it does get like that because games get cancelled. You've got the FA Cup, you've got obviously the Pizza Cup, which I know you play kids in, but it's still a match day, and you've still got to be ready to train, as in you're training for a match day as well. So I agree with that. I rate Forest Green on Saturday, but I think they wouldn't have as many chances as Samfini or Paul Coops play. Yeah, agree. Again, I think that when you take one player out of a football team, I think it can be a huge difference, don't you, Jake? That, you know, one player can alternate how you play because you have them in, you're amazed, and you don't have them in, and all of a sudden you look a little bit flat.
Yeah, and Paul Coots is a big part of Bristol Rovers, isn't he? And Joey Barton was a big part of Fleetwood, wasn't he, when he was up there? Big part of Sheffield United when he was up there as well. So, yeah, massive cog in the wheel of Bristol Rovers, and I imagine there'll be a much better side with him in the side than when they ain't got him available.
Agree with you there. Again, League One is the toughest league. I think it's tough. I think it's going to be one of those leagues where it's really tough to get out of this league. I don't think it'll be as tough as last year, but I think the Championship is the toughest league to get out of, in my opinion, with parachute payments, with, you know, to compete against sides that are spending loads of money. It's for a side that you can't spend much money. In League One, you can have a good squad, a good ethos. You can pick players up on frees, like a Plymouth side have done, like a Wickham have done, and still compete with the bigger boys like Portsmouth, Ipswich, and those quality of teams. What would you say, Jay?
Yeah, parachute payments completely killed the Championship, don't they? It's the same teams that get relegated out of the Premier League are competing up towards top end of the Championship, and it just gets boring to a sense. You know, you're expecting the likes of Norwich, Burnley, and West Brom to be up there again this year. So, yeah, which is why when clubs that do well, that get unexpectedly promoted out of this league, will just come straight back down because they're just not ready to compete financially. You know, you've got players that maybe are going up. Say for example, Ben, Lincoln got promoted this season, right? One of our top earners is on $3,000 a week, and say Fulham get relegated and Mitrovic is still at Fulham. You know, he's on 110 grand a week in the same division. It's not. I wouldn't say it's not fair, but it just doesn't make sense, does it? That you can have a team spend that much money.
When in League One, you get a player maybe on 10 grand a week, and that's about it.
Well, that's a lot of money, though, Ben. That's 520 grand a year after, before tax. That's a lot of money.
You got to remember that tax. You could end up a bit like Jimmy Carr. Again, no, I agree with you, and it's so tough. We'll whittle off these really quickly. Score prediction for Saturday for Lincoln.
4-0 written all over it.
Am I worried about Shaden leaving for the price that we're getting? Absolutely not. I think he's a good player. He's promising, but hand me the money now. I think there's better, and I think we can get a good loan player in to fill the gap. We have to replace him. I'd be worried if we don't replace him, Tony. That's important. But if we replace him, I won't be worried. And I wish Shaden luck, because going to Aberdeen, you're playing against Rangers, you're playing against Celtic. You're going to look good in a lesser league, shall we say. And, you know, it's a decent fee and it's a decent move for the lad.
Hey, Ben,
mate, you're okay.
You're going to sing Shaden Morris's song? Shaden.
Anything he's got. Again, so Jake, any final words? We're coming up to the hour mark. This is where we end the show. Any final words, my son?
Yeah, come and watch the preview that's going to go live tomorrow over on my channel. Make sure you hit subscribe. Massively appreciated. He'll be back. Looking forward to having this man in Lincoln.
Oh, I forgot I have to film with you soon.
In a couple of weeks. I think he's looking forward to it. He's looking forward to getting out on the beer. Hopefully, I can wingman him again. But no, come over, watch the preview I've done with Tom. It's new, it's exciting. It's a different format. Come and sub to the channel, give us some love, and yeah, that's about it, Bella. I'm really knackered. I was up. I'm going to sound a bit of a player. I was up until 2:00 with a bird on FaceTime last night, so I'm absolutely knackered. And as soon as we finish recording here, I am jumping straight on that bed and going to sleep.
Very good, very good. Just stay sleeping and I'll wake you up at the end of May. Again, Jake, thank you very much for joining us. And guys in the comments, thank you very much for joining. It is massively appreciated. If you are new to the channel, please remember to like and subscribe. You are vital to this channel. We are gaining subscribers like it's no tomorrow. Also, hit smash on that like. We're on 29 likes. Let's try and get over 65. I think we got 65 last week. So if you could leave a like as you're leaving the stream, that would be massively appreciated. It doesn't cost a lot. Also subscribe, turn notifications on. We'll leave the logo on for the last 30 seconds. A big over and out from me, Jake.
I'll be back on Monday, Ben.
I'll see you Monday, mate. I'll see you
Monday.
Up the Chods.
Love the imps. Thanks, guys.